Welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka, bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. For more information on Mission Evolution Radio with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit www.missionevolution.org. And now, here's the host of Mission Evolution, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
This is Mission Evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Today we welcome a truly luminous guest on the show, Joan of Angels. Joan is an internationally respected spiritual teacher, angel communicator, healer, and author whose work focuses on awakening humanity to a higher consciousness, divine guidance, and the transformative power of love. Through her teachings, writings, direct connection with angelic realms, Joan helps individuals remember who they truly are and why they're here at this pivotal moment in human evolution. Please join me in welcoming Joan of Angels to Mission Evolution. Joan, thank you for joining us on Mission Evolution.
I am so happy to be here, Gwilda. This is a treat.
It is a treat. I'm looking forward to working with you. So, Joan, can you share your spiritual journey and what first opened you to angelic communication?
Wow, that is actually a really good question because it began a long time ago when I had lost everything. I lost my chiropractic office, lost my money, lost my house, lost everything. And now I'm living with my two kids in a state of panic and fear. They were 8 and 10. And I actually, at that point, I told myself that if I ever lose everything, I'm going to end my life. And so one night I did. I went down to the Golden Gate Bridge, left my kids with my family, I guess. And it was a foggy, cold night. I'll never forget it. And I'm like in tears. And I'm just, by the way, I'm afraid of heights. So this really was mortifying. So here I am, like really contemplating this. I close my eyes, I beg for help, and I see myself in this vision of like an end of life scenario with 12 angels around me. And what did they do? They said, "Oh, Joan, have you fulfilled your mission on planet Earth?" And I had to say no, Gwilda. Now, it was the most painful moment of my life, having to tell the divine that I flunked planet Earth. And I know you would understand that. So I just was sick inside, crying, and a healing occurred. There was divine intervention for me, a certain amount, and I was able to just have a sense of restoration. And I understood that from this moment on, my mission was going to be to help others who really felt the kind of despair and not knowing which way to turn, help them come back into clarity and self-trust and remembering who they are. And that changed my entire life. And then years later, I had a download to paint 33 angels in 30 days. And when I said yes, I became a channel really for the divine and a paintbrush for the divine.
That is powerful. Do you feel like more of yourself kind of walked in that moment when you were ready to give everything up?
It did. It did. More of myself walked back in. Yes, because it's a shock. It was a shock to my system to actually say I failed, and not be able to say I was able to complete it. And that enabled me to reach out for the kind of help and support, the mentoring that I needed at the time that I kind of provide now, but to pull it together to help find clarity and restore my sense of purpose and confidence in myself. And now I understand we go through these ebbs and flows, and each breakdown is really a breakthrough to the next level of initiation.
Beautifully put.
Yes.
How did the angels appear to you? Did you see them visually, or were you just aware of them? How did they appear at that time?
Well, at that time, it was really a vision. So it was all taking place in here. But I've had encounters. So one night I was laying in the back, my sister overlooked the ocean and I was on her deck. No one could get there. It was like completely private. And I'm laying there by myself. It's nighttime and I feel a hand. I feel a touch like this. Delicate, gentle touch, but I'm supposed to be alone on that deck. And I panicked and I opened my eyes and right above me was a cloud with the most beautiful eyes and lips. I mean, I was in love. And I knew it was Archangel Michael. Actually, he reached out and he touched me.
Mm, that's profound. How do you personally define the role of angels in human evolution?
Oh, well, that's interesting. I think there's a lot of roles that angels have for people. Number one, angels have saved many people's lives. They intervene for some people at the moment where you would either die or live. And I've seen that. I've heard stories of that. And thank God that's not been my experience. But angels will intervene for people. So one thing that they do is they'll intervene. They'll also gently guide you with songs or certain little feathers or messages that once you learn to recognize them, you realize they're always with you, kind of prompting you this way or this way and giving you clarity. And of course, it's always a decision of whether you're going to listen to them or not. So I think they play a really important role in our lives, and they make us feel we're not alone, and that also really helps.
Do these signs that you're talking about, are they like omenology in ordinary reality, like a feather on the ground?
Yes, exactly. All those omens and signs, that have been discussed are the ones that they're trying to get your attention with, but they can be subtle. When my dad died, I knew nothing about all this, but my sister and I went outside, after the funeral, and suddenly we were surrounded with, like, I'd swear, 100, 200 butterflies. Okay, we
My
had never
goodness.
seen one butterfly. Suddenly we're surrounded and we look at each other. Now, we didn't, know about signs at that time, but we both looked at each other and you go, "You think that's Dad?" So, yes, they come in very subtle ways. My dad always reminds me he's with me when I find a coin on the ground because, once he told me that. And they'll come in terms of, one day I was about to do 4 readings. It was the first time someone invited me to their house to work with their clients. And I'm going, oh my God, I'm scared. And the next thing, like, what am I going to tell them? And a truck goes by, angel maids. And you can't make this up. It's as if there's a divine synchronicity. Like, there's something that knows exactly the right time to send you that exact message.
What distinguishes angelic guidance from intuition or inner knowing?
Well, sometimes and that's a great question. Sometimes it's your inner knowing. You just hear it as your inner knowing. Or other times I have heard it as a direct message, like go to chiropractic school. That was a direct message.
And when you hear it, is it in your mind's ear rather
Well,
than just audio?
I have different ways of hearing. So I'm also clairsentient. So I either have that knowing because I just know it and you can't convince me otherwise because my soul knows it. Or usually I get them here. But once in a blue moon, it's a voice. It's more than that knowing, it's that real voice. And if it's a group, which doesn't happen often, it comes in through the top.
Is everyone capable of connecting with the angels, or is it a special gift?
Everyone is capable of connecting to the angels. Okay, but we do all come with certain gifts that are more pronounced than maybe other people have. So for my entire life, I was told I had the gift of being a psychic, but I thought that was an ego thing. Didn't know it meant I was supposed to ever use it. But we do all have gifts, and it's a matter of starting to use your memory. You don't learn it, you remember it, because these are gifts we've had from before. We didn't come here naked. I believe we came here because we volunteered. We come and I tell my clients it's like having a clipboard with all of the skills you came down with, the mission you're supposed to do, and like the directions for I call it your soul blueprint. And all we need to do, and that all is a lot, is start to remember because they've wiped our memory out from day one.
What do you think stands between most people and remembering?
A lot of things. Number one, they're too busy. And we have a lot of type A people who are too busy to even know that message came through, to hear it. So that's the first thing, it's slow down. The second thing about restoring it is that understanding that these symbols and signs are coming to you. So it's that acknowledgement that you heard it and your willingness to trust it, which is the third thing. Some people never trust the messages they get, or they have to test it. So they're not used to trusting and activating that. And other people don't want to listen. Listen, if you want to go out and go to the game, get drunk, and your guides are saying, it'd be better to go meditate, pull out your deck of cards, have a quiet night at home versus go party, there's that decision.
So we get caught up in ordinary world.
Yes, and it's deliberate. It's really deliberate to keep many of us off track. And it's an initiation also to learn.
According to the angels, what is humanity being called to awaken to right now?
I love your questions. I feel like this is an angelology class. Okay. According to what I understand, and say the question one more time so I can give you the exact answer here.
Okay. According to the angels, what's humanity being called to awaken to right now?
So we're really being called to awaken to who we are, first of all, to really remember that we're light bearers, that we came in for a mission, that each of us is important in this evolution and ascension of planet Earth. And that those of us who are listening to this show, most of us are probably part of that collective of people who know they have a purpose and a mission. And so mission one is to get your memory back and to start understanding how powerful you are, and start understanding that you came here for a role as a unique cog or a member of the orchestra of Gaia. That when we are out of alignment, we pull the frequency of the planet down. When we're back in alignment, if you think of it like an orchestra, when one person is not playing in harmony, it ruins the song. You can all hear it. And we are those cogs. And when we are out of alignment, it disrupts the harmony. So part of our mission is to actually not only remember, but start to raise our frequency again and start stepping into that unique gift that we have, so that we can actually be part of the awakening of the planet, because one awakened soul can actually help awaken thousands or hundreds of thousands of souls around you.
Is that a resonance issue?
Yes, it is a resonance issue. And part of, we came here we come here in this reincarnation cycle, and we repeat over and over and over again until we learn who we are and we understand and we have the freedom that we're allowed to go home. But it's about upping who we are each time and actually remembering that best version of ourselves while we're in this 3D matrix. And that is an art form. You have to be conscious to start to do that, because everywhere you go, there's outside forces that actually get in your way. It could be people. Oh, honey, let's go do this. It could be people, places, or things. And so, and I've experienced that. I had a psychic once tell me, Joan, you blew it. You were supposed to be famous. You blew it. And then he said, well, it'll come around again. But actually, I realized, yes, it'll come around again if I continue to say yes to what I'm being prompted and guided to do.
Well, it's time for us to take a station break. Joan and I will return very shortly, so don't you go away. This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. Collective consciousness or collective unconsciousness. With us this hour discussing the evolutionary signs of our times is Joan of Angels. Her website, joanofangels.com. Joan, how has collective consciousness shifted over the last decade?
Well, that's really interesting. I think more people are waking up, number one. And you can tell that by how they're emerging from the programming that's all around us. So collective consciousness is rising in people's awareness. And it's not even subtle anymore. I could say more and more people are awakening to who they are and their role here on the planet. So not enough yet, I think, but it's happening.
Do you think that has to do with, where we are, our relative positioning in the galaxy as we move into the fabled age of Aquarius?
Well, I do think that there are historical timelines. And I know the Mayan calendar ended in 2012, and that we have different cycles of destruction and rebuilding. And we are energetically in that cycle. So there's a lot of things going on, but there's a lot of talk about this ascension track to 2030, the solar upgrade, this, breaking apart of timelines. So there's just a lot of speculation about what's going to happen. But the more your memories return and you step into that higher timeline, the better off you're going to be.
Do angels view global upheaval as crisis or opportunity?
Oh, definitely as opportunity. The dark serves the light. The dark gives us that opportunity to step into our best gifts.
It seems like, just like your story at the beginning, a lot of us have to go down kicking and screaming before we are ready to let go of the programming. Is there an easier route?
No, I will tell you this. I would like to say, oh, yes, you could, there are a couple of people, maybe if you're a Krishna this life, or a Christ figure and you were born with this whole thing mapped out, maybe. But for the rest of us, there's an opposition. So let's just say the angels, the light bearers, they all know your purpose. They're going, yes, Joan was born, Gwilda's born, yes, we're going to support them. There's an opposing agenda because the lower forces, the dark forces, have also an agenda. And their agenda is that you don't remember. Your memory gets wiped out clean. If you were meant to remember, you would have been born with your memory intact, but everything serves to wipe it out. And so I do believe many light workers, let's call them that, are taken out from the very beginning because it's way too hard. And the trauma is way too hard. And they don't stop with your childhood. So you solved it. You came out of the closet, because I used to hide in our closet. You come out of the closet, and then guess what? They send you a partner, a potential partner that was worse than your dad. And it takes you time to even know it. And then you have to remember all over again and get your energetic upgrades until you finally learn that art of discernment and you don't make that choice again. That could take a lifetime, Gwilda.
Or several. So what role does love play in spiritual evolution from an angelic perspective?
Oh my God, just if you could just get yourself to that state of high vibrational love. I like to have people sort of heal their heart, because most of us have had fractures in our heart. And what fractures the heart is someone yells at you. It's a tear. You never forget it. Even if they apologize, you had a tear. Now you had 100 tears, because it happens a lot. And so the role of your heart is learning how to actually heal it and step into unconditional forgiveness around and for yourself and move into that unconditional love. So if you could see your heart as being healed, I kind of see it as a little clay, beautiful heart. And I go around and I smooth it all out. So it's just feeling really good. And it becomes a container again that can get filled up. And we start with a full heart every day and sending it out there as a pulsating heart. Love really does not only make the world go round, but it helps you evolve. And if all you had was love in your heart, your life would be incredible and your evolution would be incredible.
Is love something that we generate from our heart, or is it something that we channel through our heart?
I think we channel it through, but we have to actually prepare our heart to receive it in a way and to send it out, to be I think that many of us, we may get it coming from here. And if it's a strong enough blast, you'll blast it out. If you have things in the way, you won't.
How can people protect their energy while remaining spiritually open?
And that's an even better question. So, in 2020, when the masks came out, and I very rarely used one, but I remember going into the market. And, when you go into the supermarket, by the way, guys, and if you're an empath and you walk in the meat department and you feel weird, you could be getting the energy of other people who were in that meat department before you, that couple that had an argument. So what I learned to do when I went in the supermarket is two things. I started teaching people how to fluff their wings, because when you're walking in as a full embodied angel, it's easier. And then I started humming under my breath. And as I hummed, I still do this sometimes in the market or when I'm out in the malls. I hum. So I fluff my wings. Angel is in the house, and I hum to myself, and I kind of feel like I do that as a protection. I make my frequency higher than the frequency around me.
What response do you see in other people when you're out in the supermarket with your wings fluffed?
Well, when I do that, I actually have a ball because I'm now an empowered embodied angel. So it's not, little old Joan and her moodiness. It's me feeling more empowered. So I talk to people online. I fluff up their wings energetically. So people feel better or they notice something about me. They'll come up to me and go, like yesterday it happened. Oh my God, you look amazing. Who are you? So I also do things like that to enhance my ability to walk into a room and know no one and still feel I can become the center of attention or meet people. I walk with an authority. So I highly recommend doing that, guys. It changes everything for you.
Do you find that when you're fluffed up, there are some people that are of a frequency that's absolutely incompatible and they're driven away?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because you're calling resonance. So here's the thing. You walk into a room and people are moody and depressed, okay? You have two choices. You can lower yourself to be moody and depressed at their energy, which sometimes I do probably, or you can be in your own energy, which either gets them to rise or yes, they'll leave. They can't handle it.
What are the most common blocks you see that prevent people from hearing divine guidance?
You know, they have to be ready. They absolutely have to be ready. So yesterday I was in a cafe and I started doing impromptu readings. I saw that for my friends' friends, just because I felt like it. And the messages came through and I couldn't really stop them because I couldn't really stop them. So those messages were very powerful, but not everyone's ready. There have been times that messages come through that people just will go, no, I don't want to hear it. People, not everyone's as open as you and I are to wanting to hear what the divine has to say to us.
Does it require letting go of your sacred cows to be open?
When I named myself Joan of Angels, all right, and I had two different business cards, one for Dr. Hirngard and one for Joan of Angels. And my daughter and I are in LA and we meet this couple. And I said, I gave them my card, the Joan of Angels card, right? And my daughter freaks out. She does this thing like this. I say nothing. This is my daughter. And she whispers in my ear, Mom, do you have to lead with that? Can't you let them think you're like Dr. Hirngard is far more impressive mom than Joan of Angels? So I could tell you from experience that because our society has made it that only the quacks, the weirdos, are like call themselves an angel or a guru or a spiritual teacher or a shaman. Not all of that's accepted by, quote, normal society. So I find that I attract people who really are interested in knowing more about who they are. And if not, they go the other way. Or they might think I'm a nice person, but
Back to letting your light shine, and it either drives them away or pulls them in, right?
And a lot of people are really open now to stepping into their best version of themselves. They're open to this new information.
It's such a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
How does fear interfere with angelic connection and spiritual growth?
How does fear?
Fear. Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. So, I have a deck of cards. I play with them sometimes. Now, I could maybe pull it out on your show, but God forbid I was on a right, like the conservatives, the born again Christians, I'd be a demon or a witch. So different cultures have different philosophies about things that I may take for granted because my people are more like this.
So the fear totally blocks the information?
the fear will totally block them from hearing it, from I had one of my really closest friends that I actually read for all the time now. But the first time she met me, she was in total panic because she was told that you don't do readings with people. You don't do Akashic records. You don't do astrology or numerology. These are things I started doing at 10. They were part of my makeup because I was called to it.
Can angels assist with physical healing, emotional healing, or both?
They can assist with both. And, so interesting. When I got that call to paint 33 angels in 30 days, I put them all up in what now became the Angel Loft, and this book falls off the bookshelf that says your call for angelic assistance has been heard. And that was a direct response to my call for angelic assistance. It didn't come the way I wanted it to come. It came in having to work for it and paint and saying yes. But they are here for you if you put out the call in prayer or in asking.
What's the angelic view of free will and human choice then?
Well, we all have free will and human choice. Look, I told you the story of how his name was Lalo. He was a palm reader. I mean, he actually said, you blew it. You absolutely blew it. So I had free will. What was I doing with my free will? I certainly wasn't following that higher calling of what I was told to do, even though I had begged for it and everything. I missed all the signs because maybe it was inconvenient or too hard, or I didn't quite understand. So we are being tested all the time. The opportunities are offered, and understand, if you don't say yes today, you will get that opportunity again. Hopefully, like I'm still keeping my fingers crossed here.
So if you don't get it the first time, they might hit you over the head with something the next time.
Yes, you will get more opportunities because you have free will and divine, and that's what free will is. But just remember, just like me, my free will led me to the fact that I blew it.
Well, it's time for us to take a station break. Joan and I will be right back to continue our discussion. Please stay right there. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org. What if my child sees an angel? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. With us discussing communing with angels is Joan of Angels. Her website, joanofangels.com. Joan, how can parents help spiritually sensitive children thrive in today's world?
I tell people to give your kid a cute little journal. You have this friend, draw them. Let me see what they look like. What are they telling you? Let's keep a record of what you are actually seeing in your life. And that would be a healthier choice. So there are kids being born now who actually remember past lives. They're not crazy. Ask them what they see. Have them write it down or write it down for them. And you'll track something that will actually totally surprise you about your kids' unseen companions and what they're learning. And parents who are doing that with kids. I watched a video the other day with a little, I think he was about 4 or 5 years old, and he was prophesizing. He was actually telling us about this ascension timeline portal that's about to happen. The kid's 5 years old. He has no idea what he's really talking about. And, according to his mom, he's been pretty accurate. And so I was listening to this, quite astounded, this 5-year-old, but his mom is letting him remember and acting like it's true. And let's talk about this. And that's developing skills in our younger generation quite rapidly.
And yet, growing up, we didn't have that kind of backing as a rule. People, were afraid of it, or, oh, honey, it's just your imagination. Does it take us longer to come out of that if we haven't had the support?
Some people, but other people, you know what? I have friends, you can tell a lot of my friends are shamanic or healers or angel beings. They talk about experiences they have had as a child and then what it takes to come out. There's so many famous people who talk about that now. And once they start getting more complete downloads as they get into adulthood, many of them start to really revise it again and take that power back. But I will say this, it would be far easier if parents are helping their children from a young age. See, our society is designed to cut us off from our soul and from our soul awareness and from our intuition. They do that so that you could be more brainwashed, do what they tell you to do and follow orders to, go to work, pay taxes, and be a good citizen. When you can connect to your own divine guidance and you can get the answers, you become a little bit more independent minded.
Well, we wouldn't want that now, would we?
Of course.
What guidance do angels offer for those feeling lost or disconnected from their purpose?
So the first thing to do is to ask for help. Ask for help. And then if you get a nudge to maybe go to Starbucks, and you go to Starbucks and there's this person you start talking to, and unbelievably enough, they might have the answer. So I say that you ask for help, and then you have to start tuning into how you're getting that help. Now, some people do, and I've done it and said, well, send me the help in form of the radio today, or send me a song because I'm going to be in the car all day. And so you can direct what these messages may look like, but asking for help is the best and efficient way. And writing to them. You can sit down and write a letter and then listen, or go to bed, put the letter under your pillow, and many times you'll wake up with those answers.
Do you find that because this is esoteric information, but like a dream, if you don't anchor it in some way, it'll kind of slide away? Do you find journaling very helpful for that?
Oh my God, they slide away. Yes. So this is why they recommend you have a journal by your bed, because maybe you'll wake up in the middle of the night and you'll get a message and you go, oh yeah, I'll remember that. You won't. You'll never remember it, because I've done that hundreds of times. So yes, record it, journal it. Now I kind of start dictating it into chat, and I have chat. It's easier for me. I don't have to turn the light on. I don't have to grab a journal. I can just dictate it. And then I keep records and tracks of everything now. And that's another way to track your intuition, by the way. So one thing I tell all my clients is that keep a journal of the times I listened to my intuition, that voice, that nudge, or the times I ignored it. Because the times you ignored it will actually tell you and help convince you more to listen to what you're receiving.
Earlier, you were talking about forgiveness. How does forgiveness accelerate spiritual awakening?
Think of it like this. You have a wheelbarrow. You want to get to heaven. If your wheelbarrow is filled with all the anger that you have and the hate and whatever that is, that wheelbarrow is too full to elevate you, too full to even have a higher vibration, because you're carrying this thing with you. That's probably an easier explanation than anything else. If you want to carry your heavy weight with you wherever you go, then you're going to experience a heavier, more complicated, chaotic world.
Are we living through a pivotal evolutionary moment for humanity?
Are you kidding? Of course we are. Ever since 2020, with global everything, a global illness, global recommendations, global vaccine, global messaging that's all around the world the same, people are waking up to becoming more powerful, and they're hearing. And yes, we are going to see changes that we never thought. We are going to see what we call the new earth. There'll be new methods of healing coming out, because people are discouraged with the Western way now. So you'll see more forms of healing. You'll see more forms of, and that includes herbs and machines and devices that can heal your body. You'll see new forms of teaching where it's going to stop, that may actually get the United States back into being, ranking high in our education, which is not memorization. It's having kids learn to think again. So you'll see that. You'll see, I think, more emphasis again on family and maybe on self-reliance, on growing your own food and learning your skills back again on the 3D world. So I think we're about to see a bigger change. Yes.
How important do you think Earth connection is at this time? I mean, we've gotten so far away from it. We live on pavement. We look at screens. We go. We have lights at night and lights in the morning. We don't notice when the sun rises and sets. And I swear to gosh, half our kids don't know which direction the east is. What do you think we've lost in losing that Earth connection, and how important is it?
Interesting, because in Australia they just banned kids under 16 from social media. So when I close my eyes and I kind of feel into energy around many people, I see like a black, it's all around their body. It could be, like a casket almost. It's all black. It's all this energy that keeps you encased. And many people have that. And that is a result of our phones, of the Wi-Fi. We're constantly being attacked energetically. And unless you have ways to protect yourself, that will also keep you from hearing your own inner wisdom. And all of this growth we talk about happens internally. Your angel's not going to necessarily walk up to you and take you aside and say, "Oh, yes, Gwilda, we've been waiting to talk to you." You get it through subtle messages and resonance and tuning into how you feel about A, B, or C and aligning your journey according to that. And that's a difference. So yeah, shut off your Wi-Fi at night. Shut off your phone when you go to sleep. Many people are now putting their phone in the other room and going back to having an alarm clock. Shock of all shocks because of that, because it interferes with your ability to know who you are.
What does remembering who we truly are really mean on a soul level?
On a soul level, it remembers that you're more than just this third dimensional self. You're more than Gwilda and Joan that appears here on the planet. You have gifts, skills, you're tapped into another energy, and you're a frequency bearer. We are all energy carriers, we'll put it that way. So tuning into your soul vision is about having an access to the best version of yourself. Not your little 3D moping around or, falling, just falling out of alignment, but the you that really lives your best life, is of service, is in a good relationship with yourself and others, is successful in what you're doing and bringing in that love in the planet.
How can a daily spiritual practice strengthen our connection to our higher realms?
Well, first of all, how could it not, given all the things I've just told you about the planet itself? So many things here are designed to disconnect you from that feeling that we have, that feeling of love or that feeling of abundance, that tuning in to yourself. So every day, a practice could be to ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. I call this the discernment scale. 0 is you're turned off, and 10 is you're turned on, happy. And 5 is neutral. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's my vital force today? On a scale of 1 to 10, how aligned am I with this soul vision that I may or may not know about? And you ask and your body will tell you.
Do you think that tuning in more to your authenticity helps you carry the frequency you came to carry?
Yeah, of course. Of course it would, because you're being your authentic self. When you're your authentic self, everything you say resonates and hit. When you're in a fake self of yours, trying to please everyone, or people can feel it, you're not going to get the results that you want. You drive people away.
What role does gratitude play in expanding our consciousness?
That thank you, bring me more. Thank you, bring me more. Thank you, bring me more. Gratitude is everything. They say that gratitude is the fuel for miracles. So if you want more miracles and step in the miraculous, be appreciative of what you have.
How do you personally stay grounded while working in these higher dimensions?
Oh, well, sometimes I don't. I want to have true confessions. I love working in these higher realms. And that really is my happy place. But unfortunately, then I'll trip, I'll fall or whatever. So I come down enough to pay attention now to my surroundings, the people I'm with. And actually, we have a 3D life here. You have a home, you have a family, you have a car, you have things you need to maintain here. And all of that is imperative to actually even be able to be in a higher dimension, because nothing is worse than having your higher dimensional plan and then suddenly your car is broken down or your body has broken down. So honestly, the challenge is, how do you eat and stay healthy so that you can always be ready?
And if we aren't healthy and ready, we can't bring this frequency through anyway, can we?
No, and then you'll have to wait till next time.
Oh man, no. I'm going to read the small print next time.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. I was listening to something yesterday about your soul coming in, and it was a reminder. You chose even where you're living. You chose where you are, not just your family, your
Where you
friends,
are.
your marriage, whatever, but you also chose the country and the places that you're in.
Well, it's time for us to take another station break. Please stay with us as Joan and I continue to explore angelic power in a world in upheaval. This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. What do we really know about angels? This is Mission Evolution, missionevolution.org. We're continuing our discussion with Joan of Angels. Joan, what misconceptions do people often have about angels?
Well, first of all, not all angels have wings. And I did learn that the hard way. Angels do not always show up, with those white wings and those cute little cherubs or, all those visions of angels. Maybe they show up that way for some people, but I've seen angels without wings. And I'll never forget, I painted my first angel, Metatron, without wings because I had seen him in a temple one day. And my friends started yelling at me, Joan, this doesn't have wings. How do I know it's an angel? Not all angels have wings. Okay. That's a primary misconception right there.
What are the purpose of the wings? I mean, are they literal? Are they metaphorical?
Oh, that's even a better question than ever. So, when they fly around the earth, okay, in my visions, I kind of see them with wings. So when I do these shows called Calling All Angels, and I literally imagine it as angels with their wings flying around the earth. So, and I do believe that angels do have wings for that purpose also. But, interdimensional, they're beings of light. So they can just be with you in a second.
So is the way we see them or their appearance more of a metaphor to make sense to us what these beings of light are?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a friend of mine was climbing on a tall pyramid. Yeah, it was a pyramid. She was alone. She got to the very top, and she was like 15 feet away from the top. And suddenly this little old guy appeared with a dog, and he takes her hand and he walks her up to the top, and then he disappeared. We believe that was an angel. George Norrie on his show told me the same kind of story. He gets woken up by this angel, literally, and his house was on fire. And the angel disappeared, and he saved his family and himself.
Mm.
So they do show up, little old man also.
Where do angels come from?
Source, the source creator, created different levels of angels so that we can actually be connected with source and the creator.
Kind of like the stairway to heaven.
Yes, just like the stairway to heaven. Mm-hmm. And some of us return, I think, as angels.
Oh, so we could have been alive and come back as an angel.
Yeah. Yeah. I see a lot of people who have this angelic frequency. And you can tell it's not just because they just look different or they'll feel different. And they have a kindness about them.
Is it a matter of processing and commitment to your path that allows that to happen, do you suppose?
Yes, I suppose so. Because there are people who actually wanted, I've had people that say, no, I want to be half good, half bad. Or, I'm going to embrace the dark side of me. So actually, people do have that free will choice.
How can our audience begin to work consciously with angels?
That's a great question. So there's a lot of different ways, but I'll say this. First of all, ask for help. And a good way as a beginner, if you're a beginner, you can get an oracle deck. You can sit there with your morning coffee, a pen and paper, ask a question, pull a card, close your eyes, see if you get any information about that for yourself. And that's a very good way to begin that communication.
Do you find divination tools are useful in this?
Well, I think I started with oracle cards, so that's how I know my experience, which began communicating. So that's one way, is to really ask and to write it down. So you don't actually have to have divination tools. You can just sit there with your morning coffee and talk it out. Write a letter, ask for a response, and you'll get it. It may come as one word in the beginning, or a feeling, or a symbol. I get things in symbols that I have to decode.
Do you get them in symbols when you're writing, or do you get them in ordinary reality looking around you, like a dog crossing the road or a raven landing in a tree?
Those are great questions. I get all of the above. But say when I'm doing a reading for someone, it's really interesting. I'll get an image. And I learned I thought, oh, they're going to think I'm crazy if I just word out seashell, something of significance to my client. So recognizing that it's something that wasn't in your consciousness before, you didn't think of it before, but it popped in, that is your answer.
When you're working for other people, how can you tell if you're getting their answers or your answers?
Well, that's why I'm an oracle. I'm just going to trust that what comes through at that time is for them. And that's usually what it is. I usually put myself a little bit over here. I ground myself enough to raise my frequency to sort of be in a purer state. And it usually works well.
What messages do the angels have for those feeling overwhelmed by world events right now?
It's a really great question. And it's not just world events, but here we are back in another Christmas season. And some of you are alone. Some of you have family. Some of you have triggers around the holidays also. So the answer here is just to remember, we're on a journey together. The planet is on a journey. You're on a journey. Your family's on a journey. And if you just get ground back out to chop wood, carry water, what needs to be done today? How, oh yeah, I have to go cook. I have to pick up my kid at the mall or something. Ground out and get back to the very basics of what you're here to do every day. And that will help you handle the uncertainty on the planet when you get back into those 3D little things that ground you. That's really important, and get back to what's important to you. We can't solve the world's problems. We can only solve how we relate to them. And we can take care of our own emotions about them by feeling more comfortable with our daily life.
Joan, how does your work support humanity's collective awakening?
Gosh, well, I feel like I'm really here to heal and inspire many people. And I was shown that when I was younger, when I was 30, that of actually being on a podium in the Coliseum and healing millions of people. And so I always hold that vision of what I know I'm here to do. It aligns me with everything I do. And it makes me excited about getting out of bed in the morning to do it. And I think having a framework for who you feel you are gives you a framework for daily living and for being that best version of yourself and coping with everything that might not be working.
What excites you most about where humanity is headed spiritually?
Oh my God, are you kidding? The ascension. If all of what we've been hearing and learning and studying is true, then there is reports of an awakening, of a collective awakening. I want to put it in a very nice way, that many souls like us all will be uplifted into a new dimensional frequency. So I'm very excited because that means that our skills are going to be upgraded. Telepathy, teleportation, really past life memory for all of us, and seeing who each other are without our masks on. And I think what we're going to experience is an upgrade in healthcare, on a practical level, upgrade in the school systems for our kids, an upgrade in the way countries might treat each other as opposed to the warlike nature that we're having.
What happens to those that don't participate, that don't tend to their interior frequency?
Again, it's a choice. It is absolutely a choice. Like, I get up every day and I give gratitude to my life. There are people that will never do that, and they get to stay in that stuck frequency where they are. I can't tell you where that is at this moment, but they're going to stay stuck. But you have a choice, all of you, of do you want to stay entrapped in your belief systems that are holding you frozen, or do you want to expand?
With this coming upon us, and I think a lot of us sense it, it's pretty easy to want to make sure that all the people that we love and care about come along. What do you have to say about that?
Oh my God, I pray for that, love, because my kids, honestly, finally, my daughter asked me this year, Mom, what does 1111 mean? I keep seeing it. When I tell her the answer, she's not interested, and I give her some crystals, and I just, have her wear them. But once in a blue moon now, she'll reach out to me. So when we have loved ones that don't resonate with where we're going, they're still our family. We still love them. You still fluff their wings, fix their hair, whatever you do to love them. But you also have to honor their free will choice.
And I guess maybe we don't really know what their path is and their ultimate expression, do we?
No, and they're not going to just be like us just because we're like this.
Maybe they shouldn't. We're like this. Maybe they need to be something else.
Well, I suppose it's optional, guys.
So, Joan, if the angels could leave us with one essential message, what would it be?
That's a great question. Start tuning into who you are and why you're here. Ask to be able to step into that best version of yourself, to be able to see it. Ask to have your wings fluffed. Ask to experience what it's like to be in a fifth dimensional frequency. And this isn't the usual answers that I usually give, but that's what I'm being told. So as you go through this Christmas holiday season, because I know this is live, and as you go through this upcoming year, understand that you have the ability to manage your life by chopping wood and carrying water, and by getting back to the essentials. You can always kind of energize yourself, and remembering why you're here, you'll be able to navigate this next period of time.
Well, it's that time in the show, Joan, when I get to ask you, what's your mission?
Oh my God, my mission is to help remind each and every one of you who you are, why you're here, what your best gifts are, and how to activate them.
Well, a fine job you're doing of it, too. If you want to give us one key on how to access our gifts, what would be the first step?
So I ask to be shown what your gifts are. And you already know it. If you're listening to this, I can already tell. You probably have compassion in there. You probably are an intuitive or an empath. Start listening to the messages you get, because you are still getting messages all the time. Break them down. Write them out.
Well, Joan, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you so much for sharing your profound wisdom, compassion, and insights with us today.
Thank you so much. And guys, reach out if you really have any desire to go further and knowing who you are and clarity with your soul vision. I offer a complimentary session, so we really look at where you are and where you could be.
Joan's work reminds us that we're never alone, that guidance, love, and support are always available when we choose to listen. For our audience who wish to learn more about Joan's teachings, books, and angelic work, please visit www.joanofangels.com. This has been Mission Evolution with Gwilda Wiyaka, where consciousness meets purpose and awakening becomes action. For more information or to enjoy our past archived episodes, visit missionevolution.org. But please be sure to join us again right here next time, where this mission will continue, bringing information, resources, and support to an evolving world.